Hey everybody, welcome back. Another Gravity Ace dev stream. I was having some technical difficulties there, getting started. I guess OBS updated and it's got some new stuff and it had a different way of connecting and blah blah blah. But I'm all up and running now. And today's going to be a short one. Hey Robert, today is going to be a short one, I think. I overslept. But I'm going to stick to my schedule anyway. I'm sticking to my schedule anyway. And today, I'm going to do, I'm still going to try to get something done. I want to finish something every time I stream. So, today I'm going to try and draw some stuff. But first, let me show you what we're going to draw. It's this thing. We're going to draw one of these. So this is the patrol point that we were working on last time. And you can see the patrol points here. And what happens is these guys, when they hit the patrol point, they reverse direction. Hey, thank you, Bike. I don't know how to say your name, so I'm just going to say the first part. So they hit these patrol points and then they reverse direction and they come back. So you remember I was having some trouble with the implementation if you were here last time. That's a mobile turret. And last time I ended up having to put an area in here because it was a static body. And there was this is an area and I couldn't get them to detect each other. There's some bug in Godot where you have area and static body collisions are kind of wonky. They don't quite work right. And I think my issue was related to that. I'm not sure exactly how, but changing this to a kinematic body solved the problem. And it literally, all I had to do was change this and change the type, and everything else in here still worked. I was actually kind of surprised I didn't have to change anything. And it's because I'm not using any physics to move the thing. I'm just literally just moving its position like this. I think. Am I doing something in physics process? Yeah, a little bit. But it's just changing its position. I'm not using move and slide. I'm not doing any of that stuff because it was a static body. And it just all carries over. So it's fine. And everything works perfectly, and I was very happy. But, so now we need new art for that thing, and I was thinking part of the reason I wanted these patrol points as separate entities in the game that are visible is that as a player, as you're coming up on this stuff, you can see them, and it's kind of a warning. You're like, look, there's going to be a patrol ahead. So even if they're off the screen, you still know there's a patrol coming, and I've got to be ready. So they should be evil looking. I think they should blink. They should look like little light posts or something. Computery, droney, evil looking blippy things. That's what we're going to draw today to replace this placeholder art of our beautiful captain. All right. So, to do that, we're going to use our favorite tool, Sprite. And I'm going to use my drawing tablet and my pen. And I'm going to start a new file. Let's do that. And how big is this guy? Doesn't say. Oh, there it is. 64. Okay, so that's fine. That's about the right scale. Anyway, let's just try it and see what happens. So like they're going to be attached to some kind of dirt, right? Excuse me. How's everybody doing this morning? Feeling good? I just woke up. I woke up 15 minutes ago. It is 7 in the morning. I'm in California. Our heat wave just broke. Hey, Scooter. We were getting it seems like we've been getting 90 to 100 degree temps all summer. And finally the heat waves broke. We got a little rain actually. Yeah, it's been pretty nice. To sleep until 5. What a wonderful life. I look at my dog sometimes. My dog is sitting there sleeping. And I think, God, I wish I was a dog. Yeah, we saw some lightning too. Lightning's pretty rare around here. Or thunderstorms are rare in California, in Southern California. I don't like that. I think, so this thing has to be kind of mechanical looking. It's got to be very regular looking. Do I like circles? I don't know. Maybe? Let's see. Let's just get it in the game as quickly as we can so that we can prototype it and see how we like it. I'm going to add, while I'm at this, I'm going to add 6 frames of animation. Let's... Let's go ahead and add 12 frames of animation. So typically in the game, most of the things in the game have 12 or 6 or 4 frames of animation. I'm not sure how I settled on that because it seems like, I know this is pretty common in the animation industry. Maybe it was subconscious, but traditional old school animation is like 24 frames per second, right? To get smooth, fluid motion. And then what they'll do is do something called, and forgive me, I'm not an expert at this, so if I get the terms wrong, somebody correct me, but they'll do something like they animate on the twos, which means they just duplicate every second, every frame, right? So frame 1 and 2 are the same, 3 and 4 are the same. Effectively, it ends up being 12 frames per second of animation played at 24 frames per second because the film projector always ran at 24. So they would animate on the twos and they would just duplicate those frames, and effectively you'd end up with 12 frames per second animation. If you animated on the 4s, you'd end up with 6 frames of animation, right? If you did it on the 3s, you'd have 8 frames of animation. So it was all like divisors of 24. Where they would denominator, I don't know the math term. But so anyway, I just ended up with 12, and I play this at either, actually a lot of these I play at, like my 12 frame animations, I'll play at 1 second. So it ends up being exactly that, 12 frames per second. But I don't always follow that rule. And some of the animations I play much faster or much slower. Just don't worry about it. Like I said, I didn't do this consciously. It just ended up this way. And a lot of the other animations happen to be this length. So if I make this length, I know it'll kind of fit in with everything else. And I've had a lot of practice creating the frames, and 12 is not a burden to create. And I'm thinking like if I play this over a second, if I do the bulk of the animation here, then what you'll see is like some kind of flash that lasts half a second, and then it'll pause. And then you'll see the flash again, and then it'll pause, and the flash again, and it'll pause, right? And I can just loop the thing. It makes the it makes setting up the animation player in Godot a little easier as well. So let's save this here as patrol point. A sprite, right? And then I'm going to export with something like that, right? 4x3. So I'll export this as a PNG. Did I export it the right place? Did I give it the right name? Yeah, perfect. So then I come back into Godot. It's instantly imported, which I love about Godot. It makes it so fast to work with. And then I can just change this texture to patrol point PNG. BAP. Go in here to the animation. There were 4 and 3. And then as I change this, right, the animation frame changes. So then I just need to animate this frame. So this guy needs a animation player. And I like working this way where I set up everything in Godot before I get too far into it. Because then it allows me to work very quickly. It allows me to work very quickly where I'm just... hold on a second, let me set this up real quick. I can't talk and think at the same time. So I just create a new track. I create an animation player, create a new animation. It's 1 second long. I'm going to automatically play it. I'm just going to loop, and I'm going to animate the frame from 0 here to 11, which is 12 frames, to right there. And the reason I do it before the end is because it needs like 1 frame to get back to 0. Otherwise, it would, if I did it here, it would skip 1 frame because it's just going to loop around, right? I'll show you the playhead. See, it just loops, right? And then this needs to be set to continuous. That way, it'll interpolate the frames between the start and the end, and then the animation will play. So, if I save that now, and then go into Godot, here's where I'll show you how it speeds up things. So I can put in a little near like that, and then a little near like that, and a little near like that. So that's 3 frames. And as soon as I export it and go back into Godot, there it is. Right? I didn't need to do anything. I don't need to touch the animation player. I don't need to do any coding. I can just draw and flip back and see it, right? And I know I can see it here as well, but there's something special and different about seeing it actually in the game. And I can play the game as well, and there it is. So I can kind of very, very quickly get a preview of what I'm working on that's like live. And it's important to do that for me, because I see things that I don't like. Like in this case, I'm not sure about the scale. I think it needs to be bigger. I think it might need to be bigger. My first thought for the design was holographic arrows. I like that idea. Holographic arrows. Let's try that. California gets earthquake and wildfires, and the sky is blood red. You don't lack weather events. That's true. I wouldn't call earthquakes weather, but maybe. Yeah, it was weird. Just last week, the sky around here was red, like there was a fire, and we were like, "Oh no, there's a fire nearby." But actually, it turned out that it was smoke from 300 miles away in Northern California. Animating on 2s. Yep. The witness. Oh my God. Thanks, Max. Hey, Max. Hey everybody, this is Max. Max is working on a game called Flock of Dogs, flockofdogs.com. Go check it out, it's amazing. And he loves Jonathan Blow. Raise your hand if you love Jonathan Blow. Al dente. Thanks for that. And a quick question. For rotating sprites, is it better to have an odd number of pixels so that the rotation takes place on 1 pixel instead of 4? For rotating sprites, is it better to have odd number of pixels so that the rotation takes place on 1 pixel instead of 4? I don't know. Yeah, the crab thing I haven't animated yet, and I think I'm gonna. So that's all placeholder art, the crab guy, and what I think I'm gonna do is, whoops, noisy. I'm gonna redraw him as a new enemy. It needs new everything, new projectile, new sound effect, new crawling, walking animation, and I'm kind of torn between either, because he's in the ice world, either making him blue and then having him walk, which is going to be tedious because he's got 4 legs, and I don't like animating 4 legs. You know what that's like, Max. So I was thinking of maybe just changing him to treads, and then keeping maybe the turret part on the top the same, but blue. Anyway. I mean, the whole rotating sprites thing, the pixel art thing, there's, I guess, several different schools of thought on that. For some people, it's very, very important to have very pixel perfect everything, right? And for those people, the only solution is to draw the rotations, right? So you wouldn't actually rotate anything. If you had a, let me start a new file. A purist traditional view would have you draw a spaceship like this, right? And that's pixel perfect. All the pixels are exactly where I want them to be. And then I would draw another frame like this, and this frame would be a rotated version, right? And this one's pixel perfect, and all the pixels are exactly where I want them to be. And to rotate the thing, you would keep track of its position in a variable somewhere, its angle in a variable, but you wouldn't actually rotate it. You would just switch to this other frame to match that rotation angle. And that way you can guarantee that all of your art is pixel perfect all the time. I don't have that kind of time, so I did not do it that way. I actually rotate things. And if you look in here, let me look at the turret, I think, because that's a good example. So Godot has a couple of options as well. Let's see, pixel, oops, search, pixel, 2D. So there's a pixel snapping option. So this forces the graphics to snap to a pixel, okay? And then there's, oh, and then there's when you're importing your art as well, import. There's filtering, you want to turn that off. There's bitmaps, you want to turn that off, right? And that makes sure that the artwork, as you move it, rotate it, manipulate it, scale it, whatever, it what do you call it? It stays good, right? But as you rotate this stuff, let me rotate this guy. Oops. Let me grab the right thing. this is actually a bad example because in the, well, here, let's look at it. Yeah, let's look at it in the game because this is higher resolution than the game. So the game is actually running at 640 by 360. And if you look at this guy, if I bring one in with no rotation, right, he's fine. And then you rotate him, and you can start to see the pixels get a little funky as he rotates, right? It's not bad, I don't think. I think it's fine. And, you know, it's an action game. You're playing through it really fast, and it's hard to see here, too, what's happening. Oh, there you go. See, there's the better example. You see how it looks a little fuzzy around the edges, right? And that's because it doesn't know exactly where to put the pixels. It's still, you know, not blurry, but it's also not as good as it would be if you drew it by hand. So the point of all that talking is the smaller you start out, the less of a problem it is. If you're rotating something, if your screen is 1920 by 1080, and you start out with art that is intended for a, you know, 1024 screen, and you scale it up to 1080, you're going to be scaling it by this weird 1.2 factor, and it's going to, you know, sometimes a 1 pixel will become 2, and sometimes 1 pixel will stay 1, and it's going to be very noticeable. But if you start out very small, like if you intend your art to start out on a 360 by 240 screen or 360 by 180, something like that, and you're scaling it up to 1080, then your scaling factor is going to be like an even number, and it's going to be 6. And so every 1 pixel is going to become 6, and because it becomes so much bigger, the rotation and the little fiddly bits that happen around the edges, the effect is much less noticeable and smaller. So I've taken that approach, and it's fine with me. I don't know. I have had people complain about it a little bit, but I ignore those guys. And then the other thing about like rotating individual components is what I'll typically do is I'll turn on mirroring here, and you see this one's off center, right? So to fix that, if I was going to have this rotate, is this would end up being like, so, you know, like that, right? And now it's perfectly mirrored, and there's a perfect center. And I think if I bring that in a Godot, oh no, it's not. Yeah, no, so there's this, it's kind of this offset problem, right? Where you're not exactly, do I have pixel snap on? I do. That's so weird. Why is it right there? Let me put it back the way it was. Patrol point, collision point, sprite. Why is it skipping that pixel? It's not skipping a pixel. Is that half a pixel? I don't understand why it's doing that. But yeah, so you do end up where, you know, if you were rotating something, it could be slightly off center. But again, because it's only 1 pixel and because I'm blowing up the screen by, I think, 4 times, then it's hard to notice. You know what I mean? It's pretty hard to notice, especially because everything's moving so quickly, and you're flying around. The whole screen's moving. There's screen shake. Things are exploding. me bring up the turret again, because that might be a good example. The base and the turret. See, this one's actually fine. So I've built this one so that the center is perfect, and then I have a number of pixels this way and a number of pixels this way. And as it rotates, see, it's fine. Anyway, I don't know if that answered your question or not, but that's kind of how I do it. And that was maybe a bad explanation. And I blame the early hour for that. Why did that crash? All right, back to drawing, I think. Just animate one leg and then, yeah, I guess. And then repeat it, but offset it a little bit. Yeah, that would work. I don't know. Like I said, I'm still up in the air about how I'm going to do it. So this thing is a patrol point, and when an enemy touches it, when these guys touch it, they know to reverse direction. And I want to make it visible to the player so that the player can see the patrol points as they're coming up on them, so that they know there's a patrol. There's a patrol ahead. And I guess I kind of want them to be not too obvious, but maybe more obvious than they are now. It just feels a little small to me. Let's delete you. I'm going to delete you. Delete you. Delete you. Let's put a patrol point. Which one of these? Here. So he'll patrol here to here, and he'll leave me alone a little bit. Get out of here. Well, let's make him a little bigger. So if I'm going to make him bigger, I also want some animation, like a lighting effect to come off of him, or, you know, some kind of flash, maybe a big blink, something like that. So I think I'm going to make the sprite bigger, first of all. I may not actually make the art bigger, but I'm going to make make the canvas bigger. This might be too much. So this will give me a little room. I can make him a little bigger. Oops. Make him a little bigger like that, something like that. And then I have lots of room for effects and visual effects and whatever. Let's try that for scale. Yeah, that's better. I like that scale. Okay, so this is what the patrol points... Oh, shoot. Now I'm thinking, let's try one more thing. Let's try a very short one. Let's try the non-obvious option. Let's do this, actually. Just during the testing, we'll do this. See, that could be interesting too. It's kind of big enough to see. But it's also small enough to not notice. And then maybe it can have like a little antenna popping out of it or something. With a little blippy on top. I don't think this will work. Oh no, there it goes. Maybe. That antenna's too big. Well, what do you guys think? Something like that work? Do we like the squat wide thing or the tall narrow thing? Or maybe it should be something in between or different? Maybe I need to think out of the box a little bit on the shape of this thing. Oh, and then we were talking about arrows as well. This thing to look like a fence. I don't like the antenna. That's the problem. Here's what I think I want to do. All right, here's what we're going to do. Let's turn this off. Delete you. They're going to be kind of maybe neutral colored. And let's turn this on. Put it right in the middle. All right, let's get serious about drawing here, guys. 737. Kind of spiky and evil looking, right? That's what we want. Kind of like those shapes. And then keeping with the theme of the game, a lot of the things in the game are kind of like these emitters. Let's give it an eye, because everything in the game has some kind of eyeball in it. There we go. And you should end up with outline. All right. We're getting there. We're getting there. Illusion FPV. Changing assets on the fly. Yes. Chonk. Not very obvious. Yes. Okay. Make a little crack that the crabs avoid. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, we could do that. The Czech hedgehog. A Czech hedgehog. You got me curious. check hedgehog. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think what we're going to do is this. So this needs some detail on it, but we'll add that later. But it would be, you know, something like, well, I put these symbols on a lot of things in the game. Like that, stuff like that. But I'll add more of those details later. And then this base is going to be the same for all 12 frames, but then there's going to be an animation layer on top. And this animation layer on top is going to have all the cool effects. And I kind of want it to be like a little fence. And the fence would be kind of holographic, I think. I'm trying to think, how is this going to work? Let's add a little thingy here. And let's see, what are we going to do? We're going to copy it. And then we're going to maybe blur it. Okay. And then for some of these frames, I want to blur it a little more. See, now you can see it kind of mutating a little bit. You know what? I don't like that. I think what I need to do is make it more organic. So what I'm going to do is just draw the glow manually for each frame. Was I in the wrong layer? Might have been. So by drawing it manually each frame and then blurring it all, it'll kind of shimmer a little. I hope. I think. Get wild with one. All right, and then I can blur them all. Yeah, so that's more interesting. Let's do another layer. I'll rename this thing later because it's not, well, let's just do it. That's a glow. I don't know what this is going to be. Let's call it, and so I'm moving away from the whole idea of it blinking like a flash, and instead it's just going to be this constant thing. It's just on. And this is going to be like, see that? So this may not need to be this tall, but this is fine. It's fine. It's just pixels. Pixels are free, right? I have a whole can of pixels here. They don't cost anything. I don't think that's chunky enough. If you're doing pixel art like this, I don't have much advice, but the advice I do have is don't be afraid to delete stuff. It's okay. And then this guy, let's see. Start one here. And then let's take all of this, copy it, new layer, paste it, copy, paste, and take, let's take you. Oh, I should have. Can I do this? Take all of that and move it this way. Does that work? It does not. All right. Undo, undo, undo. I think what I should have done is just drawn one instead of, you know, overlapping two like I did. So let's delete here, 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 here. Let's delete all these because I fucked it up. Delete, 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 delete. Delete the layer. Let's copy this layer again. Actually, let's not copy the layer. Let's do this. Let's copy this here. And then we'll copy this here. Copy this here. We'll copy this here. We'll copy this here. This here. This here, this here. Did that work? How am I still? Okay, so it wasn't copying the thing I was expecting it to. That's fine. Let's erase this. I'm on the right layer, yeah. And this. And this. And this. And this. All right, now I should be able to take all of these and just do this. And can I? Does that not work? Oh, it did work this time. Okay, now let's see how that looks. Finally went over one frame. And then if I take all of that, add another layer and put it like here. And then these need to wrap around to here. And these go away. And then all of this, I can move it like that. Does that work? Oh yeah, okay. That's kind of something that kind of like I like. Let's see how it looks. I spent too long not previewing it in the game, and I am about at the end of my time anyway. But this is good. This is good. I don't know. Once it's in the game, you can see, I can see that the little animation, the little bits flying off of it are too small. They're too subtle. It needs to be much more chunky and big and nice. I'm thinking now, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking again, I like the blinking idea where I have some kind of stalk with a blinking light on it, or maybe multiple ones. Maybe one here and one here, and they can blink alternately. I kind of actually like that look. This one will blink, then that one will blink. It'll be like blink, 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 blink. But I also kind of like the idea of having like a, how do I draw a rectangle? Something like that. And I mean, this whole thing would glow. Right? And it'd be kind of like a light shining up. Like a searchlight or something, you know? Or maybe, you know, maybe something hologrammy where it has more well-defined edges, but then inside it's kind of, you know, pixely and stripey, like something like that, maybe. Maybe. But I also like the idea of the little stalks on it, and then every once in a while, this one will blink, and then that one will blink. Ding, 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 ding. Could do all of them. Let's merge these down. Merge, merge. So I've got all those white stripy effects on one layer. Let's just look at this real quick, just for scale, just to see. See, I don't know. That's okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go this direction. All right. I think we have a direction. I'm going to go this direction and see what happens. And then I'm going to post it on Twitter, and you guys can see it. Or I'll post it in the Discord, and you guys can see it. And it's going to be awesome. I already know it's going to be awesome. I love it already. You can't blow it up. It doesn't do anything to the player. It doesn't shoot at you. It doesn't hurt you. It's just for these guys. And it's a warning to the player that something's coming up. You should pay attention. I think that's going to be great. Bing. And then I'll add sound effects for it. The whole deal. All right. That's it for me today, guys. I got to go. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for the new follows and new... if you're new to the game, thanks for dropping in. And... yeah, go check out gravityace.com if you don't know about it. Click on all the things. Join all the stuff. The game is in early access right now. And I will see you guys soon. Take it easy, everybody.